Zanny is the type of group mate that helps you with assignment. Oh, I have a story about that. I have a story about that. I have a story about that. Okay. So this isn't me. This was when I was in Demon High. But while I was in Demon High School, I got put with a group to do a group project on theatre, actually. We were supposed to do a spreadsheet on what it was like to run a theatre company, right? And the idea was that we were supposed to look through expenses, expenditure, get quotes from different companies for what we were doing, do all of the stuff that we thought that, a theatre company would want to do. And, it would be like stuff like travel, housing, expenses, props, costume design, everything, right? And I got put in a group with the cool kids, the cool kids, right? And I was like, oh, this is my chance. I'm forced to hang out with the cool kids for a month and a half while we all work on this project together, right? And I was like, oh, maybe I'll get in with them. So I start trying to be like, okay, everyone, this is good. It's something we need to do in our own time. It's a home time project. Let's all meet in the library to do the work together, and we can turn around and make good of it, So I sit there and I wait for all of them to turn up at the library with me after class so that we can start this project. And they didn't turn up. And I'm like, oh, they didn't, no one turned up. No, I was left on my own. So I was like, I did, my bit of the work, and I worked alone, and I got some work done on the spreadsheets, and, I did that by myself. And then the next day when I saw them, I was like, hey, we can turn around and we can do it again. Like, hey, where were all of you? I thought we were gonna, and they're like, oh, something came up, but we'll be there, we'll be there this Thursday. And then it was like, oh, well, actually, Thursday comes around, like, oh, well, I have a date. Oh, well, I have to go for like drinks. Oh, well, I'm busy. So then 2 weeks go by. None of them have helped. I've done like half of this on my own. Eventually, the entire month goes by, and all of the time they've left me in the library by myself to do this work, right? And I've done all of it. And I turn around, and I had like a friend during college or during Demon High, and she was very, very cool. She wasn't in my group, but she would always hang out with me at the library afterwards. And in the end, little Zanny got the devil in him. And then what happened was about a week before the deadline, they started asking me for copies of the spreadsheet I'd completed. And I left them all on scene. It was probably about 3 days before the deadline. They started asking for copies, because we were all meant to submit individually with our own notes on what we'd learned. So I didn't give them copies. And then, while I was out of class, because we had different class schedules, it came to hand-in day. And the teacher was like, hey, it's time to hand in all of your spreadsheets, what have you learned? And those little bitches turned around and they go, well, Zanny's actually keeping our spreadsheets from us. We all work together on it. And and he's keeping them for himself, and he's not given us copies. And when I was like, oh, what? And they all started being like, yeah, he's turned around and he's taken our work. And the friend that was in the library with me, now let me tell you about her. She was this like punk rock lesbian chick, right? She had like the pixie cut, she had like the shaved head, she had more piercings than you know what to do with, right? She was in class with them. She stands up and she's like, shut the fuck up, you liars. And I'm like, what? And I'm hearing this story recounted back, and she's like, this like punk rock lesbian chick was like she was like, be quiet. You left him at the library every day. You three are fucking lazy and now you're trying to blame it on him. Shut the, like, she started ripping into them. She was ripping it. She got asked to leave the classroom because of how bad she went. She was like she was calling them every name under the sun. She was going crazy. She was like, be quiet, shut up. Like, she's like, you're pathetic. You disgust me. You make me think worse of everyone that you know. I'm like, and I'm hearing this story recounted back to me, and I'm like, ha, and like, she was there to finish. She's like, how dare you put that on Zanny? You disgust me. And I'm like, oh. And they were like, you know, calm down, time to leave the classroom. She's like, good, I don't want to breathe the same air as these people. And I'm like, all right. So anyway, she and I became very close best friends after that. And Night Zone D, lesbians to the rescue for sure. And anyway, I got called into like the office and they were like, what happened? And I showed them like my drive with all of the versions and how they were never there. And the freaking absolute lesbian queen backed me up and she was like, I saw it, they're all lying. And anyway, all three of them got ungraded for the assignment. And I got a distinction, which is like an A. So, tee-hee. That's my story. And ever since then, I never gave a shit about the popular kids because they were all pieces of trash. But yeah, it's crazy to think that if a random person who I didn't know very well, who I'd only had like a few conversations with, like literally less than 10 at the library, was willing to stand up for me and literally like go to bat for this random shy little incubus that she didn't really know that well in a classroom setting and go off on people, I would have totally got screwed over and been forced to like share credit with people who did nothing. And I think that kind of, it taught Zanny that there are always really good people in the underworld and that, you know, there are always people who are willing to stand up and do the right thing. And when we're still friends, we're not as close anymore. But she recently actually got married. She met a lovely girl and the two of them got married and they now live in a beautiful little unholy union between the two of them, the two little demons. And yeah, they're really happy from what I've seen and from what I've checked with her. She does a lot of stuff. She actually works for charities now. So just a little rundown. She works for like a set of different cancer charities now and actually arranges funding and events for them, which is really, really chill. And yeah, like the punk rock lesbian chick ended up being like one of the best little demons that I've known. Let's go. Exactly. Demons are cool. Angels are mid.